Hey guys, this is Amy K from Embrace. If you don't know me already, I'm a music marketer based in DMV, and in this video I'm going to be reacting to my followers' rollout plans. So that's going to consist of singles, EPs, albums, all that. So I appreciate everyone who submitted their rollout plan in this video. I'm going to try to get to as many people as I can, but let me know if you want like a part 2 to this, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so first rollout I'm going to cover is for this artist named Hio. He's dropping a single this year, and we're first going to go over the pre-release phase. So if you see me looking right here, it's because I have my computer. But yeah, so during his pre-release phase, he's going to post flyers across the city with the QR code on them to his song, and he's going to post a photo for rebranding and a podcast interview. And just to give some context on this song, there's multiple collaborators on here. So yeah, during this interview, they're going to talk about the song and being Habesha, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to be touching on that in a few. But yeah, I like that he's still experimenting with a more traditional form of marketing. I find that it hasn't been as prominent within the digital age as of recently, so I like that he's kind of like bringing that back. Oh, and I think that the flyer idea is clever depending on what your motive is. I feel like there's 3 main motives if you're trying to do something like this. The first reason is to have your fan base involved in your rollout, which I think is great for engagement. And you can kind of frame it as like a scavenger hunt where you have your fans, look for the flyer, and then the QR code gives them like early access to a song or like a teaser to the song. But I think this only works well for artists who have like a big following and is more mainstream, or at least have a tight fan base that they would do that. And on to the second motive, which is not my favorite, and that is posting flyers around the city for pre-release, which is basically the same idea of like having a teaser clip in the QR code. But I'm personally not a fan of this, because if it's not for the sake of getting your fans involved and it's really just for anyone who comes across the flyer, I think it's not the best idea. Because when it comes to pre-release, I try not to put so much energy to it. Even if someone were to look at the QR code and they like the sound, they like the video, and it's not out yet, 9 times out of 10 they're not going to wait and like look back and see if the song is out. So that leads to the third motive, which is posting flyers when the song is out. And I think that is a better way of going about it if you were to try to implement this flyer idea. But yeah, I would save this idea for when the song is out. So I wouldn't put this in the pre-release phase. I would put this when it is released. And same thing for the podcast interview. I would save that for when the song is out, just so people have the chance to actually listen to it and that they gather enough context. But yeah, I think this is great for him to not only talk about his single, but to also talk about being Habesha. And if you don't know what Habesha is, it's like an ethnic group of people based in Eritrea and Ethiopia. But correct me if I'm wrong, but East African culture doesn't get as much exposure in the Western like media. So I like that he's kind of opening up this market share and kind of like tapping into that. And I think that he's able to state his target audience so clearly. Now on to the release portion of his rollout. On the day of the release, he's going to drop his cover art. Then a few days after, he's going to launch his merchandise, and he's going to do some playlisting and running ads on his song. And then he's going to drop a sculpted cover art frame. So basically, like, he does a lot of like visual art. So what he means by this is that he's going to remake his cover art out of clay and then put it in a picture frame and just post that. The next thing is an introductory video where he's going to introduce himself as an artist, but like do it in documentary style. And then he's going to drop a short music video, just basically a short visual of the song, and then eventually drop an acoustic remix. So as for the cover art, I would say that for the pre-release portion, and I would use that post to tell people the release date of the song, just to give people a heads up that you're dropping music soon. And then on the actual release date, that's when I would drop the short music video of the song. And then the next few days after, I would drop another snippet or like another portion of the short music video. and then maybe even the week after I would do a behind the scenes post. So it could be a carousel, it can be, you know, a video, but yeah, I would have a post that would include behind the scenes shots from the music video, and I would use that as a follow-up. So in the caption, I would probably like ask my followers like, oh, like, have you listened to the song? Or like I would ask like what they thought of it. So yeah, release day, drop the music video or short music, the visual. Next 2 days after, another short visual of the song. Then like the next week, behind the scenes video. And as for the cover art clay frame, I would post that to Instagram, and I will use the feature where you can play music over a picture. But yeah, I would play his song over that photo, and TikTok kind of has something like similar to that as well. And as for his acoustic remix, I would suggest having a live session video for that release and kind of do the same strategy that he did with his short music videos. So the day that the acoustic remix comes out, I would drop the first live session visual. Next few days, drop another section of the live session visual. But yeah, I would probably save the acoustic remix for like a month or two after the release. And lastly, his introductory video. I could see why he wants to put that in his post-release portion of his rollout, because he wants to use that time to introduce himself to his newer audience. I could also see it being used for the pre-release portion, so I think either way should work just fine. And you know, and for his marketing in general, I think the content is solid. And you know, if you were to run ads in something, I would run ads on a short music video and then the live session video. Kind of compare the two, because you never know, like maybe the remix might outperform the original song. And I would also run ads on the interview clip where he talks about being Habesha. But yeah, overall, that's a pretty solid rollout. Okay, on to the next rollout, which is for an EP. So this artist is also, if I go back and forth between saying she or you, don't mind that. I'm basically talking about the same artist. But you know, if this applies to you, and that's great. But yeah, so this artist is going to be dropping her project at the end of April, but she wants to begin promoting it early April or even late March. And she wants to promote through April with 1 to 2 reels for each song. And she wants to promote it using ads, posting content, running a YouTube ad, playlisting, and doing an interview. And we'll move on to the next slide. So to build momentum, she's going to release a single called Heartbreaker, and then in early April or March, she's going to promote Feel For You. So Feel For You is a song that's already been released. It's going to be on the project. But yeah, she's going to promote Feel For You, and then at the end of April, she's going to drop her EP. So I would suggest taking your time with your rollout and maybe even dropping more singles, just so that you can kind of build momentum for each single that she released leading up to the project. And you know, another thing to keep in mind is that, you know, a lot of people are less inclined to listen to a whole project if, you know, they've never heard of an artist before. So if you can bring them in on the first single and then, you know, bring them in on the second single, and you know, they start, you know, liking all the songs you put out, they're gonna be waiting for a project, or there's gonna be more of a demand for a project versus someone who's listening to it for the first time, you know. So I would take your time for each single, and then drop the project. But just to give a more clearer outline of how I would format this release, I would push Feel For You from March to May, drop the second single in May, drop the third single in July, and then announce your EP in August, and maybe drop your EP in August as well. But just remember that, you know, whenever you release another single, it doesn't mean that you have to stop pushing your past singles. And what I mean by that, you know, let's say, you know, you drop your second single, you're going to be making content around that song, but you can still be simultaneously pushing Feel For You, but in a more indirect way. And what I mean is that you can run ads on Feel For You while you're promoting your second single through your content. So that's basically like what I mean. And I also get this question a lot of how long to push your music, and I think that this looks different on everyone and it looks different on every song. Because I see people who are still pushing music that, you know, they released like 2 years ago and they're still pushing it to this day, because there's going to be plenty of people who still haven't heard of it yet. But, you know, I think that it's important to, you know, not only grow your audience, but to nurture your current, like, listeners as well. So I would say, like, you know, if you drop a single, I would push it, at least in the context of this, I would push it for like 2 to 3 months. But just remember to always have your current fans in mind. They need new music too, you know. So push your music however long you want to, but make sure that you're still dropping music consistently. Now, on to what I was originally talking about. You know, you might have the question like, okay, you know, let's say like I still want to run ads on Feel For You, and I drop another single and I'm posting content on that. What if I want to run ads on the second single? Again, a lot of this has to do with your budget. But I would only push Feel For You if that song is performing really well. You know, I would even kind of like compare the two. You know, I would compare the Feel For You song and then the second single, and maybe the second single outperforms the first single. Then, you know, I would put my budget into that. Okay, so now to the actual outline of her EP release. So during the pre-release phase, she's going to drop her cover art and boost it on all socials. So what I think she means by that is running ads on them. And yeah, I would save that ad money. I would save that for when the song or when the EP is out. I think, you know, doing something like that, it works better for bigger artists, you know, like SZA or something. For people who they have a fan base and they're like waiting for their project to come out, you know. For a smaller artist, I would say that for when the song is already released. And yeah, I would keep the pre-release phase simple, you know what I mean? I try not to post so much content during that time because I just want to put so much energy into it, because if someone has seen something about like your project so many times, by the time it actually comes out, they're not going to notice that it's out. You know, they just think it's just another post about it. So keep it simple. I would keep it to like the cover art, the track list, maybe a trailer. You know, you can do whatever you want in the pre-release phase, but you know, if you're gonna post a lot of content, do it when the project is out. And as for the release portion of her project, she's looking to drop a cover art animation or like a loop of some sort, and then she wants to do some playlisting and run ad campaigns, post it to YouTube, maybe drop some merch, do a listening party, and then an acoustic video of 2 songs. And yeah, I like that she's looking to promote on YouTube, especially like as of recently, because I feel like the algorithm on there has been good when it comes to pushing smaller artists. I think that a release party would be cool. I think that you can utilize that event to make and get a lot of content out of that. You can get like a listening party recap. Yeah, you can get a listening party recap video. You can even like have someone film you on stage singing your songs, and then you can use that content or use that video, overdub it with your songs, and post that to your socials. I would even do a little series where you're kind of breaking down some songs off the project. So something I would suggest is having a song already in mind to push once you release your project. I think that, you know, doing polls and like getting your followers' feedback on what their favorite song is good, not only for the sake of engagement, but like you're directly hearing from your audience what it is that they like. But yeah, I think that you should have like a song in mind to push from that project once it releases. And then, you know, once you finally get feedback from whatever you gather from your Spotify for artists or from your fans, you can use that as another song that you want to push eventually as well. So yeah, and like you mentioned, I think posting 2 live sessions of your songs from your project would be good content, and possibly a music video if you think it's worth doing. There's a lot of investment of like, you know, time and like money into a music video, so I would only do it if you think it's worth doing, you know, like if you see a song performing well and you think that this would be your best way to capitalize off of it, and a lot of people are asking for you to make a music video, then yeah, I would do that. But as for merch, I would probably hold off on that. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but I could see it being good, especially if you're trying to do live shows. You can sell your merch at the shows. But you know, again, depending on the size of your budget, if you're gonna, you know, put your money into something, I would do that. I would put that into content and ads. And then I just have a few questions that she asked regarding her rollout, which is, I want to know about the best methods to stay consistent and how to break down the rollout schedule. Some people may suggest posting every day, and you know, yeah, the more content that you post, you know, the better, you know, depending on what platform. I wouldn't really like spam people on Instagram. That's more of something for TikTok. But I think the most important thing is making good quality content and being consistent. And I think that consistency looks different on everyone. Some people, being consistent means posting, you know, a couple times a week. Some people, it might be like posting a couple times a month. So I think everyone's content strategy is different. But yeah, if you want to remain consistent, I would have a routine. Kind of like have days set out every month for when you want to film content and when you want to edit content. And now I want to cover the next rollout, which is for an album. And I'm just going to read the paragraph they sent me. I'm from the DMV, and I've been making music since I was in elementary. In the next couple of weeks, I'm about to start my very first album rollout campaign. In this album, I am the music producer, vocal artist, and audio engineer, meaning this project was 100% produced by me. Because of that note, I declare to go all out for this project and already have some music videos lined up to remain consistent. I'm under the production of creating a release date trailer / music video, which will be in release for the next month to build anticipation. And I also plan on using promo ads and reaching out to some promo pages. So just to reiterate what he just said, he's looking to drop a trailer and a music video to build anticipation for his album within the next month. And to give some context, he's released 3 singles off his project. I would kind of say this situation is a little bit similar to the previous rollout I covered, but I wouldn't really say to put out more singles. I would say to promote your current singles more. So I would push the release date back and post more content on the songs you already have out on the project and running conversion ads on them. But if you're really set on this release date, you can basically implement the same strategy, which is what you have mentioned here. It's just like posting content after the album comes out. So I feel like for me, I'm very meticulous, and I like to have it a certain way. But I have seen projects that perform well, and it wasn't in that structure. So it's up to you. As long as you're making good content, and driving fans, and you know, good music never dies. It's never too late to market some things. So, but yeah. Also, if I'm randomly going back in to read, I just want to break everything up just so it's easy to explain to you guys, and I'm not throwing everything all at once. But yeah, okay. But I always wanted to be involved locally as well. So I've also been partnered with a couple of old friends that host concerts in Virginia, and I'm the opening act for each one. Plus, I'm also part of a gun violence prevention organization where I'll be going around high schools in DC to recruit potential students of the future. But during the recruitment phase, I plan to host mini concerts involving upcoming alumni that graduated from these schools, and maybe either perform or say a few things about the safety in our community. With that being said, having a media influence attaching the younger audience is my only goal when it comes to promoting with that organization. So I like that you're looking to get involved in the community, and I think as someone who's looking to impact the youth, I think this is perfect for your branding, and you're already on the right path of knowing who your target audience is, who are you making your music for. And I kind of see this situation being a little bit similar to the previous rollout in the sense that you can utilize these events to make content. So whenever, you know, you're giving these speeches to the kids, or like maybe you're at a live show and you have some time to speak with your audience and give your own words of wisdom, I would bring a videographer to film those parts when you're speaking and post that to your socials. And the most important thing to remember that when you're filming those is not only that the message that you're giving is relevant to your audience and to who you're trying to share it to, but also the hook. What is the first thing that you're saying that's going to draw people in? You might have to bring your own lighting, because some of these places lighting is not good. I don't know if that's extra, but it's also the quality of the video has to be good too. But yeah, no, I think that this is like a good way to kind of kill two birds with one stone, because you're not only building your presence locally, but you're able to spread your message a lot further with the use of social media. And same thing with live performances. Get someone to film your live performances, maybe overdub it with your song in it, put some lyrics on it, post it to YouTube. Not YouTube, you could post it to YouTube, to Instagram and TikTok. Or you can like have a mic clipped on you. Oh yeah, that's another thing. When you're doing these speeches, you might want to have a mic clipped on you so the audio is clear. But yeah, you just want to have a good balance between these speech videos and the performance videos, because you don't really want people to mix you up between being an artist and someone who's an advocate. I think that you can be both. I think you can be a singer and an advocate, but I think in the beginning stages of your career and people are still trying to identify your branding, you might want to lean more into being an artist and posting more content around music. But you know, with considering that you have music videos lined up, I think you'll be just fine. But I think, you know, these speech videos are good in terms of bringing, you know, another audience in who might relate to whatever you're saying in your music. But yeah, it all just has to be relevant with each other for it to make sense. But yeah, if there's anything you should take away from this rollout review, and just for all my small artists, don't be afraid to experiment with different types of content. It's gonna look messy, but that's how you're gonna find your content strategy. It's all just trial and error, and you kind of have to see what sticks and stick with it, you know. Of course, like, you're gonna want to refine it every time, but it's really that, you know, and being consistent. So yeah, before I move on to the last rollout, I'm just gonna answer this question, and that is, do you think it'll be best to promote by yourself and do things on your own, or have a team and deal with everything that comes with that? And yeah, like, there's definitely pros and cons to both of them. Being an independent artist, you have to wear a lot of hats. And it's beneficial in the sense that you'll have a larger skill set and you don't need to rely on so many people. But I think that having a team is beneficial in the sense that, like, there's always someone who can do something better than you. And, you know, you can learn a lot from them. Also, it's like, it's fun working with others, you know what I mean? That's like the beauty of music. I feel like music shouldn't be something that you solely do by yourself all the time. Like, so, yeah, I think, you know, at different stages of your career, it's gonna look different on everyone, you know what I mean? Like, when you get bigger, like, you'll most definitely need a team. But I mean, it looks different on everyone. But I think it's something that you'll figure out in due time. Just kind of seeing, like, what you can take on. And, you know, like, when you hire someone to help you, it doesn't always have to be, like, permanent. It could be, like, for a certain project or, like, just something, I don't know. Next artist I'm gonna cover is, so they have an EP they're gonna be releasing, but I'm just gonna be going over their single. So over here I have his content schedule pulled up for the release of his single, and I'm just gonna go through it. He's gonna be posting 2 flicks in the first week, which is basically a photo, and then also a snippet, a music video snippet on the 9th, and then after he's going to drop a day in the life vlog and do podcast discussions. And he's basically like alternating between these different pieces of content leading up to his release. And I like that he's looking to post more consistently. If you know anything about the algorithm on Instagram, you know, people barely see half of your posts these days. And yeah, like, I'm guessing that he's gonna be posting the same content on TikTok as well. But I kind of want to circle back to the first rollout I covered, which is where I touched more on like pre-release and that, you know, if you're gonna make a lot of content, I would save that for when the song is already out. So I would actually flip his schedule around, and I'm actually gonna do like a little hypothetical like rollout, like how I would personally roll it out using his calendar. So maybe on Wednesday the 6th, he drops his cover art and he tells the release date. Then on Sunday, he can drop a trailer to his music video. And then on Thursday on the 15th, that's when he drops his song. And the asset he's going to use to promote his song is the music video. So yeah, he'll post a snippet of his music video, and the music video comes out the same day. And then, you know, maybe on Sunday, he drops another snippet from the music video, or like another portion of the music video, and posts that there. And then maybe do behind the scenes, like maybe it could be like photos, like flicks from the music video. Yeah, he can do that on like Wednesday. And then maybe do like, actually, yeah, it could be like this. On Wednesday, he can do a carousel, like behind the scenes photos from the music video. Then on Friday, it could be like a vlog, like a behind the scenes vlog, or like a day in the life of an artist or something. And that could be like him shooting stuff or something, I don't know. And then after that, maybe like the last week, it can be some like podcast discussion clips, and it could be him talking about a song or anything relevant to his branding or like what the song is about. And as for the marketing portion, it's not mentioned in the calendar, but it's somewhere in the document. Yeah, he's gonna be having Instagram pages to promo posts of his music. And yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to this. You know, whenever I do campaigns like this where I'm, you know, having influencers post my music, I have a specific goal in mind, and that is building social proof, you know. So whenever I think about marketing, there's like the first two things on my list, which is content and running ads. And maybe the third thing might be influencers, but I think that it's important that you build your name up first before you try to bring it to other platforms, because you don't have to rely on anyone. People are going directly straight to your music or your page. And, you know, just to give an example of myself as a consumer, you know, when I see a new product and somebody's trying to sell me something, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to buy it the first time I see that product. I have to see that product multiple times and for me to be convinced, you know what I mean? To even like think about like giving it a try. So that's kind of like how I see it with music, you know what I mean? Just kind of building up that name for yourself first, you know, and then people are going to start seeing it on other platforms and be like, oh, I recognize that name, like I've heard of that song before or something. So yeah, I would see influencer campaigns as something that I wouldn't use immediately. But also like another pro when you can build up a name for yourself first is that pages are also more inclined to post music if you're coming to them with a song that already has motion going on, because, you know, their goal is to have people stay on their page longer. So, you know, if they see a song that's doing well, they're going to be more inclined to post your music. So, and we actually have one more rollout that we need to cover after this, but before we move on, I'm just going to answer this question, which is how can I translate the increased social engagement to streams on DSPs? So there's 2 ways I would answer this. The first one is running a conversion ad on Facebook. So if you don't know what that is, a conversion ad basically takes people directly to your Spotify and Apple Music. So that's one way you can build your streams. The second thing is just making more promo content for your music. And for the last rollout, this one's a little bit different because this project has already been released, so I'm just kind of going over it. And this is from the artist Lil Derek, and this is for an album that he did last year. And this is basically like kind of like the template that he uses for all his projects. But yeah, just to explain the concept of this album this is a wrestling themed project. I've always loved pro wrestling growing up, and my character name was Derek the Dragon MC since I was a kid. With me being a hip-hop MC at Spitfire, I become Derek the Dragon MC. So, just to give context to his usual rollouts, so he often doesn't release singles leading up to the project, and if he does, there's usually like a surprise drop before he begins the process of the rollout. And yeah, like I've mentioned earlier in the video, I really stress like emphasizing like pushing your singles first. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through his list, and yeah, I'm just gonna summarize like everything that he was doing for his pre-release, which was dropping his cover art, his release date, a track list, and then a photo shoot, and then posting snippets of each song off the project in a promo video, and then do a post explaining the album title and the caption. So instead of posting a snippet of each song in a promo video, I think there's two better ways that you can go about it. The first way is to do a countdown where you're posting a short lyric video of each track leading up to the project. So let's just say you have like 5 songs. So on Monday, you drop a snippet of the first song, Tuesday, a snippet of the second song, Wednesday, you know. So that's basically like how I would go about it. Another way you can do it is having a focus track off the project and making the promo video off that. So that way people can still get a taste of what you're going to release. And speaking of release, he's going to be pitching his album to playlists and blogs. During WrestleMania weekend, he's going to hop in discussions so he can build organic traffic to his page. He's going to make TikTok videos for each song, and make promo videos with wrestling clips, and drop a music video on his gaming channel to cross-promote. So I like that you're taking part and communicating with your direct target audience, and I find it funny how some people talk about wanting a fan base, but they don't take the time to interact with them. So I think what you're doing is great. Something that I would recommend if you're trying to cross-promote and target your wrestling audience is by hitting up wrestling pages and asking them to post videos with your music playing over it. It could be gaming pages as well, but just choose a song that you want to promote. Pick a timestamp of the track that's the most engaging, and ask pages to post videos with that part of the song playing. This does require a bigger budget, and it may not necessarily lead to more streaming since these videos are more wrestling focused. But if you could work out some kind of deal with the page for them to post your music multiple times, it might help at least build some familiarity if people have heard it like multiple times. And then as for your promo videos, I don't know if the clips are your wrestling clips or like from somewhere else, but I think that if you had some type of like prop on, like I don't know if wrestling gloves are a thing, I don't really know, but yeah, like if you had some type of like props on, and you know you could be lip syncing to your own song, and you have those wrestling gloves on, and you have the lyrics on the screen, that's one way you can target your audience, because that's the first thing people are going to see. People are going to see you wrestling as something, and then they'll like realize that it's a song that you're promoting. That's also something that's important, you know. Yeah, if you're trying to bring that audience in, you have to make it clear that it's not a wrestling page, it's a music page. So yeah, I would say like, you know, make sure in the caption just say like song out now. But yeah, I would do something like that. But yeah, and as for pitching to blogs, I would recommend putting that budget into running ads on your promo videos. But yeah, one last question before we finish off the video. How far should my post-release rollout be planned before I kind of promote it sporadically? And should I go for a 4-week rollout instead of a 2-week? So yeah, I think that whenever you're making content, you should at least be a month ahead on your content schedule. Like this depends on the content you're making. There's some videos that take a lot more time to film and edit, but I think that, you know, like I've answered in like one of my other questions recently, you should always have like a filming and editing day set, just so that you're in the routine. But I think that you should at least be a month ahead, so you're not like rushing to get stuff done, because you know, life happens. Maybe your video editor, you know, they can't edit it on time, you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, as for your rollout, I would spread out your rollout a little more, you know, more singles, and instead of like combining it all into like 2 weeks, I think, because just based off from what I'm looking at the document, it kind of seems like these posts are like a day or two apart a lot of the time. So I would spread it out a little bit more, probably to like 4 weeks. But yeah, you don't want these dates to feel so back to back, because you don't want to like overwhelm your followers. But yeah, that's basically like, I would say that's like my feedback for your rollout specifically. Just more singles, spread it out a little more. Yeah, that's pretty much all the rollouts that I'm covering today. Thank you again to everyone who submitted, and I hope I was able to help everyone who's watching. You know, maybe you can apply this into your own way of whatever I shared. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you want me to do a part 2. And I also do consultation calls, so if you ever want one-on-one help for your music, just check out the link in my description box. And yeah,